It's 11:30. Good morning. Welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne TV. Our top stories for the next hour. President John Dramani Mahama advocates monthly cleanup to tackle Ghana's perennial floods as Ghanaians across the country join the national cleanup exercise after the recent floods.
At least once a month, let's set aside one day and all of us come out and clean the city. And with the help of the waste management companies, we'll be able to keep this city clean and also free of.
Meanwhile, 7 persons have been arrested for refusing to participate in the post-flood cleanup in Ekumfi. We'll bring you more on that, but Human Rights Court strikeout application by embattled former NAFCO CEO seeking to compel the BNI and AG to produce him in court. In business this morning, GRA partially seals CM Super Plaza operators of China Mall warehouse over tax infractions. We have more updates in sports and as well on international fronts on the 1 hour broadcast. Stay with us here. Grateful that you could join us on this broadcast. My name is Emmanuel, Agyabeng, and we are live from our studios here at the Platinum Place, Northridge, Accra, and as well on GHOne TV on our social media platforms. President John Dramani Mahama has called for monthly nationwide cleanup exercises to tackle flooding, saying years of accumulated silt and plastic waste have significantly reduced the capacity of drains to carry storm water. Speaking in Accra on the first day of the national 2-day cleanup exercise, President Mahama stressed that dredged silt must be properly transported and disposed of to ensure the exercise has a lasting impact.
See what the cause of our problem is. I mean, we've just desilted this. Look at the plastics that we are taking out of it. Apart from that, the sand there clearly did not happen in 1 year. It means this has been silted for so many years. So it reduces the capacity of the drain to carry water. And in the past, when we do cleanups like this, we fetch the silt, we put it by the roadside, and then leave it there. And then when it rains, it washes it back into the drain. And so in this exercise, let's make sure that after we take all this silt out, we bring enough capacity to be able to transport this silt and go and dump it somewhere appropriate. If we're able to do this, for the next year or two, this drain will have enough capacity to be able to carry the water through. It is because it is half silted, so the volume of water it can take is diminished. And so let me congratulate all Ghanaians who've come out. I've gone around the city. I've seen the turnout has been very good. And after this, the military and other services are going to continue to dredge the main waterways so that these drains can have an outlet to send the water to those wetlands. And so this will be a continuous exercise. And at least once a month, let's set aside one day and all of us come out and clean the city. And with the help of the waste management companies, we'll be able to keep this city clean and also free of flooding. So thank you everybody who came for this exercise. Thank you.
The President saying thank you, but Vice President Professor Jane Nana Agyabeng has called on Ghanaians to embrace responsible sanitation practices, stressing that indiscriminate waste disposal remains a major cause of flooding across the country. Speaking during a community cleanup exercise in Ngwa as part of the ongoing national cleanup campaign, the Vice President noted that many of Ghana's environmental challenges are driven more by human behavior than by natural factors. Professor Agyabeng explained that the indiscriminate dumping of refuse into drains obstructs the free flow of water, increasing the risk of floods that often devastate communities, including residents who bear no responsibility for the improper waste disposal.
Why are we here? We are here because something has gone wrong. But a lot of it is something that you and I have caused. We know that nature will do its own thing. But sometimes we also contribute negatively to the outcomes. There are times where, sometimes even the person who suffers may not necessarily have been the one who caused the damage. When we throw garbage into our drains, maybe that is the reason why somebody's house is finally flooded, because we are blocking the water from taking its natural course. So this should be a wake-up call to all of us. We all know the right things. We don't need any sermon. We know. Let's do the right things and protect each other and protect our country. But I want to thank you all for coming out to help, because this is the time we should all show love. We should all support each other. Thank you very much.
Executive Chairman of the GHOne Group of Companies, Joseph Agyabeng, has called for stricter enforcement of sanitation bylaws, saying Ghana's efforts to improve cleanliness will only succeed if authorities crack down on illegal waste disposal. His comment comes on the back of the directive by President John Dramani Mahama for the public to embark on a 2-day national cleaning exercise following the devastating June 29, 2026 flood that affected major parts of the capital, Accra, and other parts of the country. Speaking during the first day of the cleaning exercise, that is today, Friday, July 10, 2026, Mr. Agyabeng said the nationwide campaign should be accompanied by stronger enforcement to ensure people comply with existing sanitation regulations.
The assembly must ensure that the container attendant, only the bucket women bring their waste here. Apart from them, nobody should bring waste here. And we are going to support government to instill the enforcement of bylaws to ensure that people do the right thing. So one of my points is that we will provide dustbins. So when you give the bucket dustbins, individual dustbins, they won't bring the waste here. They will put the waste into the dustbins and then people will go and pick it up. One of the things is that Zoom Lion is in 29 countries. So we've done a good work in Ghana, and we've now going into 29. We have the expertise, we have the experts, and we can manage it up. And so we are going to put in plans and ensure that some of these things doesn't happen again.
Well, away from the regional capital, Accra, and the nation's best, we move to the central region where 7 traders have been arrested in the Akumfi district for allegedly flouting the National Sanitation Day directive. This they did by operating their businesses during the mandatory cleanup exercise instead of taking part in the campaign. Central Regional Correspondent Agyabeng reports.
7 people have been arrested in the Akumfi district for allegedly defying the National Sanitation Day directive by keeping their shops open instead of joining the mandatory cleanup exercise. The suspects were picked up at Akumfi Esosia and Ekumpuano after police were deployed across the district to enforce compliance during the nationwide sanitation campaign.
How important I attach to even when I work for Kutuka be the one per day, what over Jimno, or police of start to only them. I'm say I'm reliably informed them. Why arrest about 7 people? I was sure from Raquaido. And some assembly was to say, I buy what she say, as what your sanitation you may be to them and for one Jima, or 2 from Raquaido. But Sasha, okay, and what they call or Jumaya 4 artisans and even what also so human I didn't know than what maybe. He is a Omamoya and then oil very unique. Yeah, you had much so the Bocania Cotia or other communities. Then Mobayam, Yanis are doing there. I'll be in Cade in Sunumonto.
Speaking to GHOne News, the Akumfi District Chief Executive, Nana Ishmael Asamoah, described sanitation as a shared responsibility and warned that anyone who ignores the exercise will face legal consequences. He said poor waste disposal and choked drains remain major causes of flooding and urged residents to actively support efforts to keep their communities clean. The Central Regional Director of the National Apprenticeship Program, Ebenezer Abeku Essien, commended residents who participated in the cleanup and encouraged Ghanaians to make environmental cleanliness a daily habit. He also called for stricter action against structures built on waterways, saying effective enforcement is key to reducing flooding and improving sanitation nationwide.
So far, so good. You could see clearly that I'm confused. They are almost done with today's activity, and then social so almost good. I'm also heading towards Mankesim to also look at what is happening. I think we have a lot of our guys who are also on the field working and making sure that the place is cleaner. But my Boganda phone now, we are a man, into becoming a switch. And that's another them flooding, no, only the butcher that may in era.
Away from the central region, we want to touch base with all our correspondents across the country to monitor happenings since the exercise began. But even before we come to the regional capital, the nation's capital, Accra, we want to go to the Volta region. We do know 11 districts in the region have begun the massive cleanup exercise following the recent torrential rains that devastated people's livelihoods and property. In the South Tong district, we do know that the exercise has been supported by NADMO officials, environmental health officials from the EPA, and more than 150 security personnel drawn from the Navy, military, police, immigration, fire service, customs, ambulance service, police service, and then the NACOC. So what we brought to you was the video of the commencement of the exercise, where you saw people hand in hands and trying to support the exercise in the Volta region. But Makafui Atipo is our correspondent. He joins me via Zoom to give us up-to-speed information on what is currently happening there. Makafui, we are grateful that you could join us on the broadcast. Where are you currently and what has been happening so far?
Thank you very much. I must say that I'm in the South Tong district of the Volta region where, as you rightly reported, 11 districts in the region are carrying out this exercise. South Tong, Angoga district, Ketu South, Ketu North, and all other regions, districts that have been hit by the recent torrential rains. And I must say that gutters have been desilted, areas have been weeded, and I must say that in the South Tong district, for example, a lot of gutters have been choked with sand and debris. And so all these were done this morning to clear the area so that at least water can flow from these gutters into the lake. For that matter, all areas, I can say for now, have been cleaned. Tomorrow, the exercise will hit Dabala, where a lot of work will be done there as well in order to ensure that the areas are clean for us all to live in a very atmosphere.
Now, Makafui, what we are getting from the central region is a case of people being recalcitrant and they are opening their shops. Do we have something similar happen in the South district of the Volta region?
Yeah, I must say that one concern expressed by the DC Victoria GHOne is the fact that people still, deposit debris in gutters. Apart from that, people have not come out in their numbers to join this exercise, and that is one worry the DC has expressed, because a lot of announcement has gone into this exercise, and they expected that the residents will come out in their numbers, but this has not happened. And so her warning is that next time, if this exercise is supposed to go on and people do not come out, punitive measures will be taken against them. The MP has also called on residents to come out in their numbers, because this is an exercise that is important for our health. And so he is of the view that when this happens and people do not come out, it means that they are not being patriotic as citizens of this country. And so they are hoping that tomorrow, which will be the Dabala phase of the exercise, they will come out in their numbers and ensure that their environment, is kept cleaner than we are seeing today.
Makafui Atipo, we are grateful for the report from the Volta region. That is Benjamin Makafui Atipo, who is our correspondent there. While we are still touching base with other regions, we head into the greater Kumasi area. The mayor, Richard Ofori Agyabeng, popularly known as King Juba, has described today's National Sanitation Day exercise as generally successful in Kumasi. According to the mayor, he was overwhelmed by public institutions' participation. Now, speaking to GHOne News, he appealed for full public participation in tomorrow's exercise, which will generally focus on cleaning the Alaba market.
Exercise has been the most successful sanitation program that I've supervised. Reason being that today I've seen major institutions participate in the sanitation exercise. We started from around the KMA premises, where we got to Toyota. We saw all the staff of Toyota around the vicinity, making sure that whatever had to be cleared is cleared. Then we went to CFO, where they sell Mitsubishi vehicles, and there to the staff joined us to clean the place. In fact, we did a lot of work there because there were a lot of choked channels that would direct water whenever it rains to major gutters, but those were choked. So whenever it rains, we're going to have floods. So we have been able to desilt all those choked gutters, and so when it rains, we are now assured that they will go into the appropriate channel for it to flow to river courses.
Well, the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwako-Hene, who was touring the district as well, had this to share.
Touring the various district assemblies to find out how they are receiving the news and how they are organized in making sure they are executing this National Sanitation Day exercise for today and tomorrow. So for today, we instructed that they clean within their office space and also instructed all the government institutions to do same. So I've been touring. I went to Birth and Death Registry to find out what they are doing, and they are doing a good work there. I went to KMA. They are also working there. Here at Kwada, so they are also working. I also visited the police head office at Kwadaso, and they're also working there. So they are working all around, I mean, the various government institutions. Tomorrow we're going all out with all the various communities because it's a Saturday. So we've instructed that shops should close and would not open any time before 2 p.m. so that we can get everyone involved. As all these are going on to the town council, they are going around. And as you have been seeing over the week, we're trying to reinstate that and some form of enforcement so that we'll be able to ensure compliance among others. So it's been good so far, and then we are hoping that at least beyond what we are doing now, it will be sustained so that we'll be able to prevent the flood and the other environmental issues.
Let's still stay within the region and speak to our correspondent, Isaac Justice Bediako, for more on this. Isaac, the minister and the mayor of Kumasi have been singing the praise of residents. They're saying that there's full participation, even from state officials and the public, as the exercise over there, because it's 10 minutes to 12.
Yes, I must say that in Kumasi, the areas where we went, they are done because they were given specific areas that they should do this exercise. That include cleaning their frontage of their offices. So most of the government institutions came out to clear their frontage of their offices and where they operate from. So majority of them are done. When I was leaving Poku Trading in particular, KMA had finished their exercise in front of their shop at the office. Then they moved to Poku Trading to come and clean there. So now they are done with the exercise. And I must say that the mayor is satisfied with the participation. The regional minister is also satisfied. And what they are even suggesting is that president should consider making the last Friday of every month public sanitation day for the government officials, so they could also participate and use it to clean their area of operations. Because today's participation is overwhelming, and they think that when they maintain that, it will really help. But if generally in Kumasi, the mayor is saying that tomorrow they are full prepared for Saturday's national sanitation program, and they are going to focus on working within Alaba. Alaba is known for commercial activities, and the gutters there are all choked. So that is where KMA is going to focus the attention on tomorrow's exercise, together with the Ghana National Fire Service security officials and some senior high schools within the Greater Kumasi would also join them so that they do this particular exercise. So that is the general situation in Kumasi.
For tomorrow, can you give us some of the areas that they would be looking at specifically about this when it comes to this exercise, the final day?
Well, the focus will be on Alaba. That's where they will focus on. But I must say that even when they were doing this exercise, KMA were also demolishing certain structures within areas that they are not supposed to be. Then people who have also gathered rubbish in front of their tables, KMA also took the advantage to also clear all those people from that area. So behind Poku trading, there are certain women, there are a number of women who sell vegetables and fruits there. The number of debris that they have hid under their table was, unfortunate. When the mayor identified those things hidden under their tables, he quickly decided to clear them off from that particular area. And so they have also had their share of exercise today. They've cleared all of them, they've decongested the place, and now the fire service people have been told to come and use water to clean that place. So whilst the cleaning exercise was ongoing, KMA was equally doing demolition and also ejecting people who are doing unauthorized things on the streets.
Isaac Justice Bidiako, we are grateful for that update from the Ashanti region, Kumasi Metropolis, where we do understand that tomorrow the exercise continues unabated and will focus around the Alaba markets. Let's come back to the nation's capital, Greater Accra region. Yesterday, we had the fullest assurances from the local government ministry that would see full participation of the president and his vice in today's exercise. And what we have witnessed this morning so far from our senior correspondents with the presidency is that we have seen the active participation of the president and even the vice. Obed King, our global senior correspondent from the office of the vice president, he joins me for more. Obed, good morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
You are all dressed up. It seems to me that you are in the same colors as the VP herself, because she was in green this morning. But how has the exercise been for you, monitoring the activities of the vice president?
Largely, Emmanuel, it has been successful, but there are some downfalls in today's exercise. We realize that for some people, especially for where the vice president went to, the refuse that were collected were not being taken from where they've been collected, and it's a worry because yes, it is good to do the cleanup, but after cleaning up, where does the refuse go? And so we realized that there were huge heaps of refuse, even before the exercise began, at a market center, Nungwa market to be specific, and that was a source of worry. In terms of compliance, we realized that for the market women, they had closed their shops because that was a directive for them to close their shops until somewhere in the afternoon where they will be allowed to open. The vice president also, apart from the Nungwa market, went to the Jubilee House where, of course, she works, and to join some presidential staffers and those who work at the presidency to clean the frontage of the Jubilee House. After that, she went to the Burma camp and also joined the military there to also do the cleanup exercise.
But I'll come to you for more on the activities of the presidency, even on this particular matter. But let's have a quick conversation with local governance expert Dr. Frederick Oduro on this exercise that we are seeing the presidency to have been done as part of measures to mitigate flood in most parts of the country. Doc, we are grateful that you could join us once again. Now, we are not a country that doesn't experience flooding over time. We have seen this happen. We have seen a call to some exercises being done in time past, and we are seeing a renewed call and a renewed push now. As a country, are we really dealing with the problems where we need to solve it first?
Well, we just putting plaster on top of a great wound. I don't think we just repairing the crack that we have. In as much as I will not say this is non-necessary, but it is not the solution to the flooding that we're looking at. That there is a whole need for mindset change, and we've done absolutely nothing about it. So for me, in as much as I will not say it is not necessary. Indeed, after flooding of this nature, there's a need for major cleanup exercise to even forestall the incidents of cholera and the like. But if we think this is what is going to solve our flooding problem, then I don't think we have even scratched the surface of the matter.
There has been suggestions for us. We have the military leading a task force to ensure that we find a solution around this flooding issue. There has been a suggestion for use of the military in reviving the what I do know in our local parlance, summer, and then the town council operatives, and even using NSS personnel to ensure that law is done, the right thing is done when it comes to keeping our environments clean. To understand, do you agree that when it comes to our behavior as a people, perhaps it's about time we brought in the military to enforce the sanitation bylaws in our municipalities?
So how sustainable would that be? Can the military permanently be the ones going around to tell people to keep the environment clean? That's not sustainable. And if we want to solve a problem, you don't look at the immediate obstacle issues you want to do, but you find a fuller solution to the matter. If you want to talk about Nsama, as we want to say, I mean, the department, if you go to the assembly, they have a whole unit dedicated for that. But the point is that, do they even do their work? And when they purport to be doing it, do they do anything meaningful? Because look, they exist. If you go to the various assemblies, some of these people go around purporting to check insanitary conditions, and they will process people for court. But what they do is they are interested. Yes, they are interested in finding something against you, and they take bribes from you, and they go away. But that is not even the issue. The issue is fundamentally, what are if we want to deal with the things that choke our gutters alone, I would identify the plastic waste and the filth from the environment, because we are almost always having open drains. Fundamentally, how do you solve these two issues? If you want to solve that matter, we haven't even gotten to the point of indiscriminate development and then development without permits, all that sort of thing. I mean, building in waterways and all those things. Even before we come to those things, how do we deal with the matter of plastic waste in the system? We've not scratched the surface. How do we deal with people who think they can just bring their water and throw it into the bin, into the open drain? How do we deal with people who wait when it's rain, then they will pour their household waste into the drain? Sometimes you can even find fridges and big consumer items in local drains. So for me, this issue about the cleanup that we are doing, it is important in as far as we've had a major flooding, and we need to clean up to forestall the incidents of cholera and other diseases that could affect us during such conditions. Beyond that, if we are talking about dealing with the flooding, I don't think we've scratched the surface.
Dr. Frederick Oduro, we are grateful for your insight on this matter. Dr. Frederick Oduro is a local governance expert. We have been largely discussing the National Sanitation Day exercise. After this break, we'll continue the conversation with Obed King-Aglo, who is still with me because he's been monitoring happenings at the presidency. We'll touch base with our correspondent dotted across the country for more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is still Newsroom here on GHOne TV. We're discussing the National Sanitation Day exercise. So let me take you to the Eastern region, the new job in South Municipal Assembly to be specific, because they have begun enforcing the nationwide monthly cleanup exercise, with authorities closing down shops and parts of the Kumasi Lorry Station for failing to participate in the sanitation campaign. Now, we do know that there has been some caution to some shop owners against engaging drunk others to dispose of their refuse.
The cleanup exercise held on Friday brought together personnel from the security services, government institutions, the Ghana Health Service and residents who joined efforts to clear drains, sweep streets and remove refuse from public places across the New Agyabeng South municipality. Municipal Chief Executive Ransford Owusu-Boakye described the exercise as successful, praising the level of participation by institutions and residents. Addressing concerns over recent delays in waste collection, the MC explained that persistent rains had made it difficult for waste trucks to access the final disposal sites along the Agyabeng Road, leading to temporary refuse accumulation in parts of the municipality. He assured residents that measures were being taken to restore normal waste collection services.
Opportunity to apologize to the citizen in Koforidua, because we've had issues at the dumping site. That is the problem. We have a lot of issues at the dumping site because of the rains. But we're seriously working on it, and I'm sure by the end of this month, we should be able to fix it. We should be able to fix it. Because of the rains, trucks go there and they get stuck. And it has been a very serious issue. By the end of this month, hopefully we're going to fix it.
That is the update from the Eastern Region, a new job in South Municipal Assembly. But let me talk to Obed now about the activities earmarked for tomorrow. From the presidency, the vice president's office, what are we to see tomorrow?
Right, Emmanuel. So you're aware that there are some flood-prone areas in the capital. We are aware that during the flood, places like Alajo and Waja were hardly hit, and these are flood-prone areas. So it's expected that the presidency will touch base there tomorrow because of the extent of devastation and, of course, the amount of work that needs to be done. And so tomorrow we'll be bringing you updates of that exercise in those areas.
Obed, thank you so much. Obed is a senior correspondent who reports from the office of the Vice President of Ghana, that is GHOne Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Thank you so much for the updates, Obed. The Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority is urging Ghanaians to make environmental sanitation a regular habit beyond the 2-day post-flood cleanup exercise announced by the President. According to her, consistent cleanup efforts are the surest way to reduce the impact of natural disasters such as rainstorms and flooding. She made the call, that is Professor Kluche, in an interview with GHOne when she led hundreds of EPA staff in Accra to desilt drains as part of the nationwide exercise.
EPA is out here cleaning our surroundings, and we want to thank the President for this directive. In fact, I keep thinking that I shouldn't take the President to ask us to come out to do this work as a nation and as citizens who need to keep our environment clean. So we thank him. So EPA, together with my staff, we are out. We are currently doing works, cleaning the gutters and the grounds, weeding, collecting all the rubbish around here, right behind our wall, opposite the Registrar General Department, just the road that separates the two institutions. So that is where we are currently trying to clean our compound. Also joining the President's directive, and we use this opportunity to encourage all Ghanaians to come out and tomorrow to do this. We also want to entreat that this shouldn't be a one-time event. If we can make a frequency of a monthly cleanup of our surroundings, but of course it has to be a daily activity right near us. But then at this scale, as nationwide, if you can do it monthly, it will go a long way to help us with the environment and also prevent or reduce the impact of flooding when it happens. Beyond Accra, all EPA staff are out there working. So all the regional offices, all the district offices and area offices staff, they are all out. We are waiting to hear from them from time to time. This morning, we got the information that they are out working. From time to time, we'll get the progress of work as we are also working.
Well, speaking of the June 9 devastating floods, EIB Network, in collaboration with its partners, continue with relief efforts for victims at Adabraka, Odona, Sahara, and Alaju. On the second day of the distribution exercise, affected residents received essential relief items and cash support, with many expressing gratitude for the timely intervention. There is more in the following reports.
Many families at Adabraka, Odona, and Sahara, the flood waters may have receded, but the impact of the disaster remains. Damaged homes, destroyed personal belongings, and lost sources of livelihood continue to remind residents of the devastation caused by the recent floods. Determined to bring relief to the affected communities, the EIB network, together with its partners, returned for the second day for the distribution exercise. Families received food items, toiletries, bottled water, and other essential household supplies, including cash donations, to help meet their immediate needs. To the beneficiaries, the support was more than just relief items. Many described the gesture as a lifeline and a source of renewed hope, expressing heartfelt appreciation to the EIB network and its partners for standing with them during this difficult period as they begin rebuilding their lives.
I really appreciate their effort coming to our aid to help us with some basic needs that will help us survive for some days. So thank them and the government for everything they've done for us.
I didn't know how much in the envelope, so I thank them all much. So God help them make next time to make donation like this to us.
I mean, Inshiram, you mapa moya man for ne, and one more man for. Oh, Thanks
for GHOne for helping us. It's not easy because the food is as well everything. So we thank GHOne and the other thing for everything. Thank you very much.
Danyamiasi abanya babuaye kakra. Yeah. But idea I high important in this omuya do emombe fa bola no o market no mu enti bola no omusa bago bola no high do enti muka kira abai mbremu no mbobuaye enti yada nasi
yanda suka tuna da Allah ubangiji kuma ya tuna da su haka nan da ba da so mu mani ko kadara ni wallahi biya bukata abinda an kai muna mun gode.
While on the same exercise, we have given more than 400 bags of rice, cash, toiletries, groceries, pharmaceutical items, home meals, and other relief items as well to hundreds of families affected by the recent floods in the Greater Accra region, that is the capital, under the EIB Relief Initiative. Now, as the humanitarian campaign gathers momentum, we continue to appeal to corporate organizations and individuals to join in efforts to support affected communities.
In response to the devastation caused by recent floods, EIB Network launched the EIB Relief Initiative to provide immediate assistance to families whose homes and livelihoods were affected. Over the past few days, the team visited some of the hardest hit communities, including Alaju and Adabraka, where hundreds of residents received relief items in cash and kind. The intervention was made possible through the general support of several corporate partners and individuals, including Soho Pegasus Holdings, Isaac Obendako, Win Energy, Robert Smith Law Group, Mark Phillips Products, Alaloon and Smart Cards at Signature Apartment, Unichem, and Run Transport Limited. Collectively, the partners contributed more than 400 bags of rice, pharmaceuticals, groceries, insecticides, toiletries, blankets, drinking water, hot meals, cash support, and other essential items to help ease the burdens on affected families. The campaign continues to attract support, with transport and logistics company Run Transport Limited becoming the latest organization to partner with AIB Network to extend relief to flood victims. Head of Marketing and Sales at Run Transport Limited, Juanita Kosa, says the company was moved by the plight of residents and saw the partnership as an opportunity to support communities during a difficult period.
We are just, sad that this had to happen to the people of Ghana, the flood and everything. So we are a company that stands with communities. So we decided to partner with EIB Network to donate. We have beds, tissues, mosquito nets, and then other items to, support with the relief and everything.
With more communities still in need of support, EIB Network is appealing to corporate organizations, institutions, and benevolent individuals to join EIB Relief Campaign. The network says every contribution, regardless of the size, will help provide relief to more families as the humanitarian exercise continues in the coming days.
The Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs has begun moves to establish Ghana's first comprehensive database of shrines and other religious sites across the country. Sector Minister Ahmed Ibrahim says a multi-sectoral committee has been constituted to identify, document, and develop a clear definition of what should be seen as a shrine, describing the exercise as complex due to the diverse spiritual and cultural practices across the country. Appearing before Parliament's Committee on Assurances, the minister explained that the working group, supported by the regional coordinating councils, will create a reliable database to guide policy decisions and improve government's understanding of traditional and religious practices. He stressed that shrines are not always physical structures and could take different forms, making it necessary to establish a clear and expert-backed framework for their identification and classification. A very interesting development, but let's get expert insight on this. We are being joined by an associate professor in theology and religion at the Department for the Study of Religions at the University of Ghana, Professor Ben Willie Kwekugolo. Prof, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners.
We are grateful for your time. Prof, what are your thoughts on the development of a reliable database for shrines in the country and even other religious sites?
Well, thank you, and once again, thank you for having me on your network. Fundamentally, I would say having a database of shrines and religious spaces and all places should necessarily not raise issues and all concerns, provided that there are good intentions in doing that. As it were, in this case, I think the minister was quite forthright in detailing why they had wanted to have a database of shrines and sacred sites. So, if as a nation and as people or a ministry that has an oversight, a responsibility of these spaces, they would want to have a database for one reason or the other. One, they said they wanted to monitor the number of shrines that operate in the country. And secondly, to establish a clear definition of what these spaces are. That shouldn't pose so much of a problem, provided it helps all of us, in this regard.
But Prof, help us with some understanding here. These, among others, are not things that many perhaps will not be easily accustomed to, even for those with deep-rooted traditional beliefs. Do you foresee any challenges that the committee is likely to face in implementing this database? And by so doing, what remedial steps would you prefer to the committee to avert some of these things?
You see, fundamentally, it's all about communication, I would say so. If there is enough information as to these practitioners, as to why these spaces must be documented, I don't think that there is a problem, or there should be a problem. You know, I could straight away identify 3 basic reasons why these places must actually be documented. If it's basically about documentation, and database is basically about documentation in a way, so that we can take stock of these places. One, for research purposes, it's very necessary for these spaces to be documented. You know, there are many people all over the world that enter into different spaces, communities, countries, in order to research on such spaces, you know. So it's good for these communities if these spaces have been documented in terms of the categories, the types, and the purpose, you know. And it's good that these things are streamlined for research purposes, so that those of us, whether those who do research in these areas, whether locally or internationally, they want to have first point of contact to these places, databases will be the very first places to contact, you know. Secondly, it must also be, identified and acknowledged that these sites provide services.
Okay.
You know? And for the purposes of safety, security, control, and monitoring, it's good for the state to know where these spaces
are located.
Exactly, the services they provide, and what kind of service one site provides, the other provides, for both those who want to patronize those places, as well as the government to monitor, you know. So as a service provider, just as all other service providers are monitored, and of course, we've heard not only of the shrines, other religious spaces are already databased, and we have data on them. And once they provide services, they must be somehow be on the radar of the ministry that takes control of this space. So for monitoring purposes, I think it's important for some of these communities as well. These religious spaces, majority of them have become also tourist sites, you know. For the sake of tourism, won't it be good, let's say, if I have a shrine, a popular shrine in my village, for somebody in the Caribbean, in the US, or wherever in the world, could easily locate this place for tourist purposes. And once these sites are known, it's good for the state to be able to make sure that the services they provide are up to date. Prof. So it's good for them to have a
national database. We are grateful for your insights. We do know that once the working group begins its work, we'll come to you for more insights on this. Professor Ben Willie-Golo is an associate professor in theology and religion studies at the University of Ghana. We've been having a discussion on the indication given by Ahmed Ibrahim, local government minister, on the database for shrines and other religious sites in the country. Let's do courts news now. The Human Rights Division of the High Court in Accra has struck out an application by embattled former National Food Buffer Stock Company Chief Executive Officer Hanan Abdul Wahab Al-Ludiba, who was seeking to compel the BNI and the Attorney General to produce him court. The application was struck out as moot following his release on bail Last Tuesday, the court declined to hear an ex parte motion filed by lawyers for the applicant, led by Godfred Yabwadame, the former Attorney General, to have the matter heard in the absence of the respondents. Instead of hearing arguments without the BNI and the Attorney General, the court said it would rather hear the application on notice to both the BNI and the AG. The court had adjourned the case to today. However, Aludiba was released on Wednesday, and when the case was called today, the court presided over by Justice Barbara Tete-Chawi noted that it had cited a notice of withdrawal filed by counsel for the applicant dated July 9. Time to bring in the latest in our world of business.
Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has partially closed down the warehouse of CM Super Plaza, operators of China Mall on the Spintex Road, over alleged tax compliance breaches. According to the officials, the company failed to obtain authorization to issue its own receipts and has not been successfully onboarded onto the EVAT system, despite engaging the authority last year on that mandate. However, while the warehouse has been sealed, the retail section has been allowed to continue operating, or the company is given a week to rectify the issues.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has partially sealed the warehouse of CM Super Plaza, operators of China Mall on the Spintex Road, over alleged tax compliance breaches. The head of enforcement at the GRA's Accra Central Office, Joseph Agyabeng, said preliminary checks showed the company had no previous tax infractions on record. However, further investigations revealed that the business operates under the registered name CM Super Plaza, which differs from another taxpayer listed as China Mall in the authority's system.
So based on other infractions that we have already identified, we have picked some records. So we are going to do our preemptive assessment and compare with what they have declared so far to us and see the challenges in terms of the under declaration. And then based on that, we give them a preemptive. And if there's need for an audit in future, for that reason, like I always say, we also apply human face to what we do. So we have sealed off their warehouse and allow the retail shop to do some work.
Mr. Annan said it was too early to conclude, as the authority had only just received the relevant records for review.
But we are giving them a week to rectify whatever challenges they have, because they are saying that it's a technical issue to get onboarded. Technical issue shouldn't take more than 6 months. We are in July. They started this business with us to be onboarded since last year, and that has not been done. So we have done partial seal-off. Maybe a particular company has made some good name. They want to, ride on that good name, but then they pay something to the owners of that, need. It happens.
The warehouse has since been sealed, while the retail section remains open and operational. The company has been given 1 week to address the issues identified by the GRA.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
The world's biggest football festival is here.
And sports, Spain and Belgium lock horns in one of the standout quarter-final clashes of the 2026 FIFA World Cup with a place in the semi-finals at stake.
Spain booked their place after topping Group H before defeating Austria 3-0 and rivals Portugal 1-0 in the knockout stage. Belgium also arrived in fine form after winning Group G, beating Senegal 3-2 and trashing the United States 4-1. For Belgium, this is another chance to chase the major trophy that slipped away from their famous golden generation, which reached the 2018 World Cup semi-finals but failed to win silverware. This new group is determined to finish what their predecessors started. Spain, meanwhile, are looking to add another chapter to their rich football history. After dominating world football between 2008 and 2012 with 2 European titles and the 2010 FIFA World Cup, La Roja suffered a shocking group stage exit in 2014. Now, they are back among the world's best and dreaming of another World Cup crown. With history, pride, and a place in the last 4 on the line, fans can expect a thrilling battle between 2 of Europe's football giants.
Smart stop. Brave. Baena.
At least 11 people have died and 19 others remain missing after a fast-moving wildfire tore through southern Spain's Almeria province. Local authorities say early indications suggest 4 of the victims are British, although formal identification is still underway. Many thanks for the company throughout the 60 Minutes broadcast. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. For more news, do log on to starfm.com.gh. Have a wonderful afternoon.